You're listening to Lead TV, the only podcast for today's best shows and movies. I'm Zach.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Cash.
And tonight is the season finale of Into the Badlands. This was episode 10 or chapter 16 or whatever you want to call it.
Wolf's Breath, Dragon Fire.
Is what we want to call it.
That's what it was titled as.
Yes. And that is what we want to call it. I love the name. Makes no sense, but
I don't want to waste any time. Give me some opinions here. What do we think about the finale?
I actually really enjoyed this episode. I know y'all may have some flaws with it and stuff like that, and there's some nitpicking can be done, but all around fun to me.
I mean, I thought it was really enjoyable. I had a lot of fun throughout the episode, but there was just a lot of plot holes in it.
I was surprised by some decisions made, which sometimes surprises are good and bad.
Yep.
I think there were some decisions made that are going to be hard to come back from, and so I'm curious to how that's going to go. The episode itself ran pretty fast, which I like, a fast-paced episode, but there was a lot of technical flaws in this one for me, and that really kind of overshadowed it a lot for me. So entertaining, good pace is about the best I can go with it on that. There was just a lot of things I was like, I wish that, I wish this, but none of it was because the story was wrong or out of a point or anything like that. I think it was just...
I only have one bad scene that really stuck out to me. The rest of it, I could let slide.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to dive right in and get into it, and then I want to make some predictions at the end about where we think the story is going to go, what this means for each character, and so on. So we'll just kind of do that towards the end, I think.
Sounds good.
But the episode starts out with one of the really cool visual effects. Now, I will say this episode really did kind of bring back the setting as an extra character, and I really was impressed with that. I mean, I love how we started out with the misty woods, and the visual effects and all that stuff were pretty sweet. And then you see him basically get to Waldo's shed, which cool. I mean, where did you find these places to do this filming?
No idea.
I mean, you can tell this place was not built for this scene. They found it. You know what I mean? Maybe added some stuff to it.
Yeah, they just added a crate here.
Yeah. And just really, really cool. I thought that was a really neat effect. I'm happy they went to the detail of showing you Waldo's shed and going through all that.
And now we know Waldo wasn't lying like we thought last time that Waldo set him up in a trap. No, he was really trying to help him out with the shed.
So
super weak lock on this bad boy.
Oh my God, the most ridiculous thing.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Speaking from truth, I learned this when I worked as a coach at another school. Is like these guys showed me they took a hammer or they took a little bar and you can almost take out any master lock by doing the same thing.
Really?
I mean, it's serious. I mean, it's like they are so weak. And so when you saw this, the one thing I did like about it is it was a really cool looking antique lock. Mm-hmm. That was one thing I thought was a neat detail.
No, I agree. But he does like a half-hearted.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a swing.
Yeah.
He let gravity do all the work.
Should we have needed at least 2 or 3 hits before this thing breaks? Or was the one swift death move, good enough?
I wanted at least I want at least a sledgehammer hit.
Or don't make it a hit, make it like a pry.
Yeah.
Remove the latch, not the lock.
Yeah, I can go with that. I mean, yeah. But no, I mean, it didn't even...
Like I said, that's a nitpick.
Yeah, it didn't faze me. Go inside, we find the cool-ass bike. I love this bike. You added a little bit more chrome and metal to it. Not really chrome, but like shiny metal on this set or so on. It's like we plucked it from The Walking Dead, Daryl's first bike. Very similar to it. I love that it had the all-terrain tires on the front. And, it was a really cool piece. I like that.
Did any alarms start going off in your head when he came back on the motorcycle?
Well, it was a clear callback to the beginning of the first episode.
Very first episode.
Well, to me it was, there's no way that Vale's getting out of this. Because there's no way you're getting a baby and her away on a motorcycle.
That didn't really cross my mind at all. I just thought it was a cool callback to the beginning of the show.
When they did the overhead shot of him driving down the street, that was like, legitimate, just hey, remember this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I felt like the episode was an encompassing episode of that. The very first episode, you see Sonny in his ultimate rare form of just being an ultimate badass, taking 10, 12 people out, and he is on a mission to go to Quinn single-handedly. So we're probably going to be doing the exact same thing. And so I thought it was cool they made those correlations and brought it back to where it was, like he was at full power. What do you want to call it?
Even in the red Clipper uniform. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I really enjoyed this part. I thought it was really cool that it was kind of a throwback to what it was. Then we get the dark side of Quinn, where he's like, this is my family now. I'm going to protect. Talking to Vale, and they show several scenes of him being the father figure and all this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Did they beat it to death too much? Did they do it, too many times of him going down there and talking and doing all that stuff?
I more or less just don't understand, like, why he's so obsessed with Henry.
Yeah, why is he so adamant?
I can't figure this part out.
I don't know either. My wife was with me, and she was like, "Okay, yeah, we've seen the whole 'I'm your daddy' thing now. Let's keep moving." And I was
it's
like,
just so creepy.
It is that.
I mean, like you don't feel comfortable watching it or anything, and he's doing a great job. But I just hate that his talent's being used on that.
I was super happy to see him in full battle garb, though.
Yes, it was good to see him back. It cuts away, and we get the scene of the widow tending to her busted lip, which I was happy to see that they kept, some of her bruises and face and all that stuff like that. And Waldo comes in, just tell me she's alive. And, of course, in the preview, they were kind of making it like there was a chance she wasn't. I was like, blah, blah.
We knew.
She's not dying from a kick to the head.
Yeah, no. Basically she calls him out. You're a survivor. You want to be a Baron, this and that, so on. Were y'all surprised by his reaction to this?
No, because, his reaction is still on the fence. Like, he hasn't...
Well, he said, I'm done, I'm out. And then she's like, don't you want to be a Baron? And he, the wheel stopped moving.
Yeah.
He pumped the brakes,
those wheels can be greased.
Yeah.
So.
I think it was more telling later on in the episode when he doesn't go with Tilda and Baji and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he is sticking around for that possibility in a way.
Well, I think she said it best. You're a survivor, and you make decisions that mean you survive longer. If that means that sticking around here and possibly becoming a Baron or like that gives you an opportunity to stay in your position instead of, fighting for scraps out there in the wilderness, In
a wheelchair.
No matter. Exactly. So, she's got him in a rock and a hard place situation. So, totally see where that's going. Makes total sense to me.
Plus, it'd be really cool to see him as a Baron.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
Yeah.
Hard to believe, possibly, because you're talking about a crippled person. Like, once again, why do Clippers...
it's nothing against the cripple. I just think it's a situation where is that most of your people who are legit Barons are also one of your most formidable foes personally.
Well, no, Waldo can handle his business. No problem.
Yeah, but he doesn't. He's not perceived as a threat because he's in a wheelchair.
True.
Yeah, in a way.
It's all about perception. You, us, the viewer, know he's lethal and deadly as all get out. But if you're thinking about the Clippers in this kind of environment, you look at the widow and you look at him in a wheelchair. It's just natural. Don't get me wrong. It's bullcrap. But that's just a reality of it. Especially when you're in this kind of environment when it's more barbaric and you fight for what you get, and it's not like you go to the supermarket, and you buy what you want.
True, but he has been a regent before, and so I feel like he can command respect just off of words and everything.
I think he would command respect for Clippers, but cogs, which are basically slaves and stuff like that, I think you'd have more trouble with them.
Very possible.
You know what I mean?
Very, very possible.
Either way, this is all hypothetical.
Very hypothetical.
That's for the end of it.
All right. So, what do you think of Quinn's speech to his men down in the galley? But
Loved it.
He dips his sword and gets in fire.
Didn't like making the fiery sword, but the whole speech and everything. Yet again, I was ready to fight for Quinn.
He's just he's
so
very
good.
poetic. The sword dipping and turning blue. So I watched this 3 or 4 times. Like, is this just CG? Is there a practical here?
I think it's a practical effect. If you look, when I
you
saw
look
it
very careful.
There's red strips on the blade. I don't know what that is, but I think it's something that will light.
Well, there was decoration on the blade that had the red spots on it. I remember that from other episodes. If you watch this video, there's a scene where the thing's on fire, and it looks like there's a source of the flame right above the hilt of the handle. like where it comes out and goes up the flank, up the sword.
That'd be pretty cool.
I mean, you couldn't tell unless you were looking really, really hard. In which, who cares? I thought it was pretty neat. Did not expect Lydia to come out there and just denut him with her little speech, but come to find out, really doesn't.
They all know that it's wired for bombs.
Yeah, I mean, you're the last one to figure this out.
Yeah. If it's not worth dying for, what was that what he said?
Yeah. God, his speech,
if you don't die,
if you're not willing to die to live,
yeah,
then what are you doing?
If you're not willing to die for it, you can't live for it, or something like that.
Yeah, it's something to that effect. Yeah, something to that, and so then he's like, all right, take her away and make sure she digs her own grave and stuff.
She's earned that respect. I was like, oh my God. It's like, I don't want that respect. Like, just someone go ahead.
Yeah, really. Yeah, that was just kind of like, what? It
was a great closing line.
Yeah. Yeah. And the digging grave part later, we're going to have a long chat about. So the widow comes back and she starts pruning this ghost lily, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
People travel miles around just to see one bloom, and
she's got like 3 of them.
And I was like, okay. And so MK comes to a revelation with her, basically you're only as good as you will help me get my power back, which means you have to have your power back.
Mm-hmm.
Which we've made that known and so on. Not a fan of putting the garden shears to my throat. Did we feel for a second this was a potential of any type? I mean, realistically?
No.
But I don't feel like MK has much that he's like living for, honestly. I mean, you know what I mean?
I mean, outside of Sunny and Vale, I don't think he and Azra.
Well, yeah, because Tilda kind of broke him down.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, congrats.
I found somebody that makes me happy.
I mean, I might not like
Prefer
it, but
the scissor. I see this as MK play. You know what I mean?
My wife's like, whatever, put the shears down. I was like, okay, all right, I like to bounce stuff off of her because she looks at things way differently than we do. Brings Baji in. Baji kind of does his job of kind of BSing around the thing. We're a team. Yeah, no, we're not. And
were you surprised that MK looked so hurt about everything Baji was saying? I was like, why are you surprised by this by now?
Yeah, I mean, like, he wasn't much on board with a lot of things, throughout the whole entire thing, and I don't know. The last 2 episodes of Baji have just kind of been shaking my head, because they really twisted where, what his purpose is and who he is. And, it's just made the muddy water to me. And so I'm really curious how they're going to really bring him back to be the guy that you really enjoyed and was playful and so on. Because
I don't know if they're going to be able to do that, but I do think he's going to be like up there main character wise is Sunny, if he's not the main character by the beginning of next season.
Yeah, see, I don't think he's muddy. I like.
No, I'm just talking about like, I think they've muddied the water with what his intentions are with everything and who his relationships are. I mean, like for a second, he's very loyal, then he's not. And then he's very loyal with somebody else, he's not. Well, no, I want this, I'm not.
Well, I mean, he's
back and forth, Don't get me wrong, he's an opportunist.
Yeah, I think it's more of that than ever being loyal.
But, I missed the quick whip and sarcastic and, I miss that banter. And when he's not with Sunny, we miss a lot of that banter.
Mm-hmm.
With other characters, I hate to say he's one of those characters where if he's not with one or two other people, he's not as enjoyable, especially by himself, with what they've given him dialogue and story-wise.
I don't know. I kind of enjoyed him by himself in this episode in that solo fight.
Solo fight?
Yeah. It was him in the second in command, the right-hand man or something.
Oh, you're talking about when he's in the barber shop?
Sidekick.
Oh, yeah, sidekick.
That's what it was. I couldn't remember the
because
word.
we're going to talk about the second command who makes a
He does make an
reappearance
appearance.
all of a sudden. Lydia goes and digs her hole impressively deep, wide, no sweating,
Like I've
single shovel.
dug many of holes in my life.
Pretty sure it was
None
a
that
flat shovel.
By the way, it was a flat shovel.
Yeah.
And that right there was that was the first flaw in the scene, because anybody out there who's ever dug with a flat shovel, you ain't digging no hole.
No.
Unless that is just quicksand you're shoveling out of there, you ain't digging that, or she was digging so hard that it just wore the nub off the front of it to make it flat, but negative.
No. She would have no soul left on her foot.
No.
She would snap her feet in half.
Yeah, so that was the first womp womp womp. So then, all right, he gives her, what is this little figurine? It's of a
totem.
It's totem. Is this of the people she's from?
Yeah, the Totemites.
The Totemites. Okay. How did Homeboy know she was from that? Is that something that was common knowledge?
I think
probably
so.
common knowledge.
Okay, I'm cool with that. So she takes this shovel, smokes him, smokes the other guy, and then, and I mean right then, this is the first scene I was like, oh, bullshit, no way. Takes the shovel
Impales
and
his head.
impales his head, where you see the shovel come out part of his skull.
Yep.
I almost wanted to throw my remote at the TV. I was like, no, they did not take Lydia, gorgeous actress who maybe 137 pounds, soaking wet with this dress on, is going to be able to take this shovel and put it through a human skull. Flat shovel at
Through
that.
his face.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, she couldn't dig the dirt with that flat shovel. You're not going to put it through somebody's face and out the side of their head. And how sad is that this is the regent for Quinn, who's been gone for 4 episodes, and he takes one lick, lays down, and then takes the impalement to the face with a shovel.
And also knowing that Sonny's coming, and he sends this guy off to go a simple errand. Kill her, put her in the hole she digs. It's like, man, you're not very important. They put some emphasis on you for no reason.
Yeah, for no
I want to
reason.
know what this actor did to get shat on like he did. Because he was gone for several episodes and then gets shat on in this episode. Killed with a flat shovel.
Yeah, I don't know.
Brutally
I
killed
feel like
with a
this
flat
guy
shovel.
did burn a bridge
Yeah.
Somewhere. Because, man, my man disappeared off screen for a while.
So we're gonna give you your big break, big screen time, and then nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've listened to some podcasts. Your limp is killing all your credibility.
We're gonna
these
promote
guys
Gabriel.
at Bleed TV who have basically said that you are not what they envisioned as an assassin. If anything, you have a bowling physique, and you need to start balding to make it work better.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, of course Lydia's on the run. The guy's following, and of course, guess what happens next scene? The preview ruined it for us because Sonny throws his dagger, a very large dagger by the way, right through the homeboy's skull.
You can't call this a dagger.
That's a sword.
This is a mini machete.
So yeah,
Badass though.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
super cool.
Because it wasn't what I was expecting.
No.
They were like walking at each other. I was waiting for him to like pull out the big ass sword and just waylay him.
Yeah.
Or like the original fights, it was more fighting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was
swords.
like, I don't have to have a weapon to dominate you all.
Remember, he was dropping them on their heads.
That's something
Breaking
I
their
do
necks.
really, really miss from the first episode is that he was deadly with nothing.
Yeah, remember he went into it with like no weapons. I don't need.
There
a
was a
weapon.
scene in the
he
first episode
specifically
where he
took
took
it off.
yeah,
it was the
somebody's
first-
leg and wrapped him around it where he's, kissing his own feet. And he takes an arm and wraps it. I mean, just
uses the
brutal.
trees
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
Yeah. Bring that back. That stuff was awesome.
Yeah, I miss
We've
it.
seen the sword with the loops on it. We got it. We got it.
I mean, they did a great job with that sword this episode, and I've been complaining about it the whole time.
Yeah, it finally had a purpose for the
Yes.
rings. Finally. Anyway. All right, so he saves Lydia. Hey, the police is wired. You're going into a death trap. Okay, I'm still going.
Yeah. Changes nothing. Thanks for the
Yeah,
heads up.
I just realized that.
Here's my super elaborately carved, beautiful mini sword
Yeah, really.
for whatever you find in the woods.
Right. Yeah.
I would love a bear to just attack her all of a sudden.
Just rip her apart.
At this point, I
Just
think
limbs
she's
going
beheaded.
everywhere. God.
I think she should be screaming the Revenant the entire
Yes,
way
I
through
know
this
it,
fight.
man.
Leo!
Oh, gosh.
If they really want to get surprised,
Yeah, really. Just start killing characters right and left. Just taking stuff back. All right. It cuts back over to Baji in his cell, and we see Tilda laying on the ground, okay? Now, how about this amount of blood on the tile floor? We're talking it is pooled down. It's in the crevices like that, all coming from her face. Bad stuff.
And then she coughs up a
She
lungful.
She coughs up a lungful. And then my next BS moment. Very next thing she starts talking, them pearly whites are gorgeous. There's not a lick of blood in her mouth or even on her lips after she coughed up a half a lung of blood. And I was like, yeah. There wasn't no toothpaste. There wasn't no water. No nothing. I mean, come on. I mean, I was rewinding. I was like, really? I mean, I know you're like, all right, she spit it out. They went and washed her mouth out. Now it's time to do your scenes. You know, whatever. Can you imagine what that stuff tastes like? You know, my understanding is corn syrup with red dye and stuff.
Sounds delicious.
Probably on a sugar high.
Yeah.
You know, but
Well, no, it's just a continuity thing. They probably filmed this a couple times, and then the editor just missed. Oh, this is the time we filmed it, and she didn't have the dye in her mouth.
right. You know, it just gives you a little something.
It happens.
It happens. Don't get me wrong. You know, of course, my leg's busted. You slide that over, and he's like, "You expect that shit to work?" There was a little good comedy there.
Yeah.
You know, and then of course, Odessa comes and saves the day. And all right, my next problem. And he goes, "Why don't you go ahead and tell her what you did?" Did Baji know that she got turned in by Odessa?
Yeah, I think Odessa was there when the widow came out.
Yeah,
in the
but there
last
was never
episode.
expressly.
Well, I mean, I think he was able to put two and two together. That she
Okay.
ratted
Well,
him
I
out.
was kind of curious about that because like he didn't know he was being eavesdropped in the barn.
I'm
know?
pretty sure that they revealed that she.
Okay. Well,
why it
it's
all happened
plausible. Yeah, I just kind of thought it was strange. They get outside. They're getting in the truck. Tilda looks like death, and homeboy in his little, you know, what kind of cap is that? Is it it's a Brillo cap or what? You know, the hat he has, the short bill. Bolo. Yeah, I knew it was. And I wasn't a fan of this entire dialogue. It was almost even unnecessary.
It wasn't almost unnecessary. It was.
To me, it's like, get in the truck, and as you're getting ready to leave, have Waldo roll up. You know what I mean? And then have this dialogue. You know, hey, Tinkerbell, be careful. You know, look out, da-da-da-da. This guy in the conversation, scratch this. This is where the editor misfired. We didn't need him.
I think it was only there just to tell us that Waldo might be siding with Sonny still over the widow.
I don't know.
But like I said, it
Just
didn't feel
have
needed.
Wildo kill this guy.
Yeah, really. I mean, pull a dagger out of your spoke and take this homo out, you know?
And make them take the body. Like, it's that
Yeah,
simple.
really.
I get more frustrated with the fact that people can hotwire cars just by tearing these wires out of the bottom. Where are they getting these wires? I'm telling you, I don't know what this is. But there was this like jumbled nasty wire and then a single wire, and he's just cranks right up.
Well, that's a Hollywood hot wire.
I've just never seen that underneath.
No, me neither. I don't know. It's a great question. I would love to see if that's even really how that would go.
Love to see a car thief just be like, "Hey, how do you actually hotwire a car? Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Like, is it actually right there in every single car, where you just kind of pop that little part out?"
It's like, has no one thought to change this after, they've seen a movie? Like, hey, guys,
Yeah, really.
do you think we should change this
Obviously,
wire?
this is a bad idea to leave this here. Yes.
Matter of fact, leave it there, but attach it to the battery where they fry themselves every time they try it.
Really. Make it a death strap in your automobile.
Also known as GM, General Motors.
Oh.
Wow.
Wow. Low blow.
We're not affiliated with any.
Yeah. All right. There's a scene where the widow and MK are walking outside, and we realize they've made the transition from spring, summer to winter, and we have the really cool snowflakes coming down. Of course, they're wearing dark outfits, which really highlights these are hitting them. The grounds are really everything's turned to brown and so on. Absolutely love the setting. What do you think about her deal she proposed? You know what I mean? We're going to give you your power back and you can try to use it to kill me, but if you don't, you're mine. And he agrees.
I don't understand that.
I don't understand that either. I'm trying to understand what the significance here, or what she actually has on him.
It seemed like it flipped. He's like, well, if you give me my power back, I'm going to use it to kill you. But then it's like, she's like, fine, you can try. But then it's like the deal flipped at the end where she's like, well, let's fight now. And if you beat me, fine. But if I beat you, I own you, and then we can do the power change. That's what it sounded like at the end to me. But it does. I don't think that's what they implied. It just was all marbled up.
The way it was delivered was confusing. And like I said, I was talking to my wife, and she goes, "What just happened? I don't understand what the initial. What does he have to gain?
Nothing, because he doesn't want the power.
He doesn't want it, but now he has to do it. But then if he uses it and loses, he's her slave.
And even if he wins, he killed a pointless person, which is
and he still has his power back. And so he's a lose situation.
Yeah.
And so, unless I just completely misunderstood this whole deal, I have not the foggiest. And then I was thinking, all right, well, if he gets his power back, does that mean he can use it for good or control? I'm just like, I don't know. I never heard her express that you can be taught to control it, or that was something that was going to be a part of it, or anything. But, she talked about trying to be able to control it.
Yeah, I mean, we know she didn't get to the point of training to where she could control it.
Right.
Because she still had to cut herself to do it.
So, it really, really confused me. Really, really confused me. And
yeah, I think the words just put together were a little confusing.
Here was my next problem with this scene. And this might be ticky-tack, whatever you want to call it.
Imagine that.
If it's snowing outside, it's probably cold, right? Because they were dressed pretty heavily, right?
You think so.
Even later on, there's a scene where Sonny has a baby outside, and they do all that kind of stuff, and he's walking through. Any of y'all ever notice that you never saw their breath when it's cold outside, even in 32-degree weather, which we have to happen, or pretty close to it for snow to be coming? You would see the person's breath as they're talking or moving or anything of that nature. Just a little detail. Throwing it out there. It was on social media, when I noticed it as well.
It's a fair criticism. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about it.
It's ticky. Don't get me wrong, but for something that has been so good on continuity and detail, I thought it was missed. Kind of.
Well, plus seeing the breath is always a cool effect anyway.
I'm with you. I mean, like if you're going to the detail to show all these potato flakes falling.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, you're going to do it. Then
go through the effort.
Go. Give me a little bit on that as well.
I mean, you're not even going the extra mile. You're just doing.
Just imagine if you're watching a scene of them talking to each other and you can see that expelling. It makes that's even more. I mean, you go through the expense of making the woods look as misty as they did. I don't think it's a big reach to make them look like you can see the smoke coming.
I mean, you definitely make a great point with this.
I mean, so that's just where I'm at. So like we talked about, Sonny finally makes his way, just drives right up to the front door, rolls on in like he owns the joint. Again, really cool snow effect.
The cool effect is like out of this world on a lot of these Sonny scenes, and like you said, just walking in. He owns every bit of this frame.
He does. He really does. Another really cool thing that I really liked about this is that he drove in, he parks it right there and walks in. I looked at the ground. You can tell this was like a first shot. Mm-hmm. It wasn't done 10 times where you see multiple tire tracks on the ground where let's do it again, or whatever. And so all that looked really, really good. He rolls in, and within seconds of him walking in, they were waiting on him.
Yeah, I hated it.
I was really kind of surprised by that. That all these guys with already flaming arrows were already ready.
Flaming arrows were a big...
Could we have somebody as a lookout, motorcycle coming, get ready, give me something, instead of them just magically appear with 30 flaming arrows waiting on them at the door?
The only thing I could think of that would have been tipped off was his men hadn't come back yet. But they were having one woman dig this hole. So by no means were you expecting them back.
I asked my wife about this. She goes, well, maybe they heard the motorcycle. I thought that was a possibility.
I think
until you have
a fourth mic.
Yeah. But I'm just putting it out there that still, that's thin to me.
I would say it's plausible until we have 30 flaming arrows.
All at once, ready to go.
In crossbows.
Right.
Flaming bolts.
Flaming bolts, right. Which, how do you even... Is it easier to make a bolt? Like an arrow kind of made sense to me, but a bolt?
I don't know. The bottom line is that it went to the Walking Dead syndrome of let's do it. We have the really cool scene, but let's don't worry about how we got to it.
Yeah, it's coincidences.
Yeah, so that's the part that don't do that. Don't do that. That stuff drives me nuts.
I mean, the other part was flaming arrows were the worst decision in the world. You're in the dark. Let's let him see what we're throwing at him.
Yeah, I mean, that's got a little point to it. I don't know. I mean, I think it was that situation where you want the rule of cool to outweigh it, but it didn't to me.
Not even close.
It didn't. I mean,
especially since we already saw the flaming sword.
And then he's there with baby in tow. which
Creepy.
I thought was interesting, But it did kind of set up the creative emotion. Were y'all surprised that he turned and did his, I'm going to put it out there, his terrible scream? His, and he, charges at all, the arrows. I'm going to be honest with you. Daniel Wu and his screaming, it's terrible.
Let me see your war face.
I mean, exactly. The war face, you got to stop doing it. He is such the badass.
Emotional actor, he is not, though.
No.
Yeah. When he does the least amount of talking and the least amount of like that or so on, when it comes to a fight scene, it comes off so much better. Not to say he's a bad actor. I'm just saying, like, when he's in these kind of situations, the reason he's so badass is because he's so calm, cool, and collective. His composure and so on. And so the one thing I was happy about is that he starts running at him with emotion and he gets hit by a few bolts. I was like, yes, because you went out there with emotions like Waldo tells you to quit doing, and this is what happened. You get careless.
I was okay with it, except for the fact of the spinning side flip. I had no interest in seeing it once or 3 times.
And so I'm going to put another thing out there. This crossbow, how far do you think these guys are away from Sonny? Give or take.
100 feet max.
No.
I'm calling closer.
I'm calling 50 feet.
I'm calling 50, 60. Just say fair.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something. If these are crossbows, which I'm going to say are the same type of caliber that can penetrate a bus, okay, do you think that thing sticks in him 3 inches?
No.
And he pulls it out?
Well, these also have a rounded tip on them because they're holding a flaming rag on it. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just saying there is a big, fat, blunt object stopping it from penetrating like it normally would, even slowing the speed of it like it normally would.
Let me ask you a question. If you took a bolt, even if it went in 1.5 inches into your thigh,
That's
into
flaming.
your quad muscle that's flaming, and you pull it out, are you going to have a limp for a while?
Yeah, you're running on pure adrenaline, though.
Okay.
I'm trying to save your child from a creepy,
Okay.
very
All
creepy
right.
man.
I'll go with that. But I'm just saying. I mean, this bolt, they were coming at him.
Don't worry. We're going to have a long talk about penetration when this episode comes.
Yes, we are.
But I mean, as you're talking about these bolts, I'd say like 60, 70, because they're reloading flaming bolts into these?
Yes, they did reload, and they continue to shoot. And then all right, here's my next problem. So then Quinn gets his one, and it's just a singular shot ready to come at him. And he doesn't. And he shoots this ginormous bomb. I'm talking, it is bigger than a human in the corner of the ceiling here.
I mean, it is a Henry sitting
the only thing, it's like the Manhattan Project was hanging up there in the corner. You know what I'm saying?
That's ridiculous.
I'm talking, it hits this thing, and it is like watching some small fireworks go off right beside him.
Really put Henry in danger.
Yeah, considering the explosions we have seen in the past,
Yes.
from a couple canisters strapped to a chest.
in this very exact location.
Yeah, coming from the same thing. That explosion pack that he put on his chest, which had 3 or 4 canisters that were like Coke bottles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not even.
Yeah. This thing had welding tubes up there. They were so large. And it hits it and has less effect that it doesn't even concuss Sonny, who looks like he's less than 10 feet away from it.
Yeah.
I was pissed that this is what they decided to go with. And not only that, it doesn't kill Sonny from 15 feet, but it is strong enough to bring down giant concrete pillars on top of him.
Yeah.
I mean,
Slabs.
I was like, stop it. Stop it.
Like, even the leading up to it, I was upset because Quinn just clearly turns his entire body to shoot this thing.
Now, Homeboy can move fast enough to dodge these things at 30 paces, okay?
Mhm.
He can't do a single flip when this thing shoots sideways or something like that to get out of, away from it at all.
Or to even turn around to look to see what he's aiming at.
I don't know. Just whole deal. And then for the stones to fall perfectly for Baji to be able to just slide him right on out. Like nothing was on his leg. Nothing was holding this. It was just, let me grab you. Let me dust you off. Hold on a second there, man.
Will me, Riggs.
Yeah.
Will me. Will me, Riggs.
Cool. I like that. Yes.
Second time. Lethal Weapon 4 callback.
That's correct. That is correct. Will me. And so, I mean, this whole deal
Sequence
was
of
a
events was
travesty. A travesty of cinema.
Outside of him walking in, this entire thing
was
a flop.
fantastic until the arrow showed up. You know?
Yeah, the plausibility of everything was whack, but rule of cool wise, when he's deflecting him, he does get hit in the chest, he does get hit in the leg.
I like the accuracy there.
It's not like stormtroopers or every other military people you see when they're aiming at a real character where they just miss constantly.
Yeah, where he just...
Yeah.
I would have hated it if he was just like ducking and weaving,
y'all could
moving
see-
like it's a like a moonwalk dance coming at him. You know,
If y'all could have seen the acting portrayed by Zach there as he's dodging these arrows.
personally, I think I could have dodged at least 3 before I took 17 in the chest.
Yeesh.
I would have looked like a pincushion when they were done with me.
Yeah. You look like that bus.
Oh.
In more ways than one.
Is that a fat joke?
It's a double joke.
Yeah. I'll kick your ass later. But anyway. All right. So Donnie's down, and everybody goes back to partying. Don't worry about he's under the rubble.
Yeah.
Don't go
We're just
over
gonna
there and
leave him.
make sure he's dead. Don't go over there and put a blade in him and make sure it's said and
Put a
done.
shovel in him.
Yeah. That's the new weapon of choice. Yeah. Into the Badlands, deadliest weapon, flat shovel. Yeah, that's right. Set
I
your
gotta be
arsenal
honest,
up now.
I can't do shit with a flat shovel.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
chicks buy it.
yeah. All right.
So yeah, it's like everyone's like, "Hey guys, did we leave the oven on? Is something going on down there?" No, we'll kill him later.
Yeah, he's good. Leave him there. He's in his own tomb.
He's marinating.
Gosh. All right, so they go back down there, and you get this veil at the door. I mean, motionless, emotionless. You know,
She pulls on the door handle a little bit.
yeah. It was just kind of like it's like she was in a glass coffin right there. You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of creepy. And you know, Quinn doesn't even say, just gives her the look. He's gone.
Me.
Yeah, really.
I double checked. I made sure I checked his pulse. He's dead.
Yeah, he's gone. It's all good. Henry's mine. And of course, Baji gets dropped off in the snow, and of course makes his way down there, finds him rather easily, rolls
Really
up in
good Baji running scene.
Man,
Is that what that is?
that's
So
all.
it's running?
Whoa! Baji
light-
and running are not the same.
That sounds like
sentence.
a waddle. It was like
A
a,
light
penguin.
skip.
I don't know if Baji can put his hands together. Let's just be honest with ourselves.
Let's be honest. We saw Baji do a clear backflip in this episode.
No. It was a front sideways somersault in midair.
Sorry, my bad. Side flip.
Yeah. Well, it was great stunt double because he
Stunt
lost
double.
70 pounds in the scene.
Stunt double was pretty clear in that one.
I mean,
We're not even there yet. Let's go.
yeah, really. So Baji, just like I said, moves one little rock, slides him on out, dusts him off. Y'all good? I'm good. You know, don't worry. He probably can't hear anymore because of the explosion. It was 10 feet away. He should have half of a face if he does have. It should be like a Breaking Bad, the Chicken
Yeah.
Man. He should be walking around with skull exposed from the
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
If it's still a spoiler alert, shame on you.
Yeah,
that is
really.
not on
Yeah.
us.
So they make their way down there, and of course, now I did love the bouncing head with blood everywhere. You know, coming down into the commissary area where they were all at. I did like that. You know, coming from commercial break.
I must have missed that.
Yeah, I didn't see this.
Are you kidding me?
No.
I did
Like, there's
not
a
see
scene where they
this.
walk in there and there's like 7 or 8 guys and their blades and it cuts to commercial. When they come back, there's a whole new group of guys and one of the dudes' heads is rolling down there with blood coming out of it, and it was pretty freaking cool.
Honestly, I thought this was a bad edit. When I first saw it, I was like, hold up, came back from commercial. They're already done with the first guys, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I was just kind of choppy to me. I did not see the head roll.
Dude, and the head roll was cool as all get out because like it was CG. Don't get me wrong, but like they did a really cool job of the blood coming out as it was rolling from like when the head landed, it would have caused a blood splat here,
Right.
and then rolled and a little dribble and then landed. You know what I mean? Like the blood looked really really good.
Okay.
You know the way it was done. So I was really impressed with that. Now there's some other parts later where the blood is absolutely horrendously done, but we'll get to that in a minute. But so we see them all down there, and so 2 on 30. Because, you know, he has 30.
Kill Bill Volume 3.
Yes. Right here in my notes. What does it say? Kill Bill again. Okay. We literally are doing leg sweeps with a sword
Yes.
and taking as many
limbs,
as you can imagine.
and
everywhere.
I loved it.
I loved every second.
Every
of this.
single second of this.
I mean, this Kill Bill, that was one of my favorite all-time fight scenes in that bar parlor wherever they were, where he just just taking limbs right and left.
And that's
so,
what I imagine this sword doing the entire time.
It's just a giant lop off, So I thought that was pretty cool. Great throwback to Kill Bill.
Blood's flying everywhere. We have limbs going left and right. I'm screaming at the screen.
It was really, really cool. Really, this was actually my second favorite part of the entire episode. Was just that whole fight scene, and just one after another, and then you get to see Baji run and do his amazing somersault midair, side flip, whatever you want to call it. And like I said, he lost 70 pounds midair and came back down. And 70 pounds reappeared.
I love him with this little short, like I said, fat sword. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Man, he is doing work with that thing.
Oh, yeah. It looked like a machete, just a heavier duty machete. Yeah, I thought that was pretty sweet, And I love what they've done with his fighting style is that it fits his physique. Mm-hmm. That's when
he's in close. It's a lot of elbows, forearms,
right,
back fists, and stuff like that.
I mean, I'm just so happy they didn't. And to me, his little side flip, I didn't need to see that. I mean, just, I thought it was cool, but I'm just like, that just doesn't fit his character.
No.
It doesn't.
You almost kind of want to see him, struggle in, those things.
Yeah, really, I would have rather him see do a tummy roll, as he goes down, do a full head over, full roll across the ground and come back
Kung Fu
up.
Panda.
Yeah, exactly. Just, completely fall. Not even, a roll, he's ready, he just trips.
I don't mean that to be insulting because of weight. I just think it would have been more plausible and actually cool because it would fit his fighting style. Imagine literally if he just went head first and rolled on his back and came right back on his feet and was into a full mode. I mean, it is Kung Fu Panda to be funny, but I mean, that would have been more plausible, realistic, and cool versus the 70 pounds in midair, doing slipped and coming back down. Because like I said, all his combat was hand to hand. I mean, every uses his foot or feet, or legs, whatever you want to call it. Everything was whoop whoop in your hands and the whole 9 yards. So
and he brought back nunchucks.
He did. I thought that was pretty neat.
After taking a whap to the hand.
Yes.
Which I would have just gave up right there.
Yeah.
I'm done.
It's I don't know about y'all, but
just roll over in the fetal position.
Good whap to the hand, and
it's that right here on top of the hand, where all the veins and the tendons are, and the thin bones.
Your hand hurts for a month.
Yeah.
Anything you do with your fingers and digits. Yeah, I mean, it hurts to grab your junk to take a piss. I mean,
can't wipe an ass.
Yeah,
that would be terrible.
Yes. I'm aiming on that because I have crushed my hand like that before, and it sucks.
It only requires the slightest amount of pressure, and it hurts terrible bad.
Yeah.
We all played football. You always get on the ground, and somebody stomps your damn
with
hand.
Cleats. Yeah,
with cleats.
Son of a.
The only thing worse than that is the person stepping on your toes.
Oh, I've had that. I have many an ingrown toenail to prove of that.
Yes, amen to that. So Baji does his fight scene. We got the nunchucks and,
Which I really like the end nunchuck fight scene where he's fighting the 4 people and the camera's giving us a full frontal view.
Yeah, it's almost like a side scroller.
Yeah,
it was. And if you remember, this was actually from an earlier preview in the season.
I thought we had already seen this.
I thought we'd already seen the scene already, but no, this was the actual one from a preview many episodes ago. And I thought it was pretty cool. It was realistic, good job, and so on. And so Sonny busts up into the barbershop, and there's Vale, and we get this passionate. I'm not going to speak. I'm just going to attack them lips. Here I am,
Did not like this music or this scene at all.
I love
like
the door
when Baji shows up.
I like the door kick.
The music was...
This was
questionable.
Very 80s.
Kenny G.
No, it was
Michael
like...
Bolton.
How dare you bring in these Saints and compare them to what was played in this?
I was just waiting for an 80s porn to break out.
Oh, man. You went there.
Sonny just pulls out a mustache out of nowhere.
And it just grows instantly.
Just grows it on. Dingy Hole 2.
Oh.
I'm done. Good night, guys. This is Bleed Team Podcast.
Yeah. I'm putting it
How
in
in the hell did we get to a porn on Into the Badlands? Yeah,
Well,
the whole deal. I mean, the kicking the door in, and then he goes there and lays one on her like that. And my wife I was like, so bye, babe. And he's just like, cheese. Yeah. And I was like, okay, but like you said, I mean, I didn't hate it, but I just didn't think it came across well. Let's put it that way. I mean, I think everybody was really happy to see them reunite and stuff like that. But think about this, though. The one positive here is, what would you have said that could have made the scene better? Him not speaking, best decision ever.
Yes.
Oh, no, I agree. Like I said, emotions aren't his strong suit. So I agree with the fact that it was just a silent embrace.
Yes.
I could have done without music.
Really, if anything, it could have been...
I think you cut the
Here's the
music
other thing, too,
golden.
is that he went straight for the kiss.
Mm-hmm.
To me, this is like the friend super embrace hug, and then it leads to the kiss.
No.
We got the Maverick and Goose high five. It's like, good to see you, babe.
No, I'm just saying, like, you run each other, get a hug, and you're alive, and then it leads to a kiss.
No, I was okay with him going straight for a kiss.
Just
I mean,
dirty dancing all of a sudden, just like spin her around.
No. All about you, babe.
I'm a dance fight my anger out.
All right, so Baji shows up.
great intro.
Yeah, great intro.
The big like belly
Yeah, I mean,
belly bump.
yeah.
This was Kung Fu Panda.
Yes,
It really was, yes. And so we meet, like, we're going to say the sidekick or the new regent or whoever,
We'll call him Timmy.
Probably the worst line.
Like,
I don't want to call him sidekick because I hated that line from
yeah,
Baji.
it was-
Yes.
I hate sidekicks.
Yeah.
Gay.
Yes. I know it. That was a terrible line. God, it was terrible.
But it led to something great with the whole scissor conversation.
It did. It did. That's the one positive here in that whole situation is that,
the
of
fight
course,
scene was meh.
the fight scene was all right.
They gave that guy way too much credit.
Yeah.
It really did.
I
To
mean, he
me,
should have been
that
dead.
should have been the
Yeah.
gray-haired jalop that's up there with the flat shovel death.
Because
I
he would have been.
see that. Sorry.
Well, no, it was like that would have been more believable of him getting up after like he'd thrown through the
to
table
me-
and stuff.
So here's the deal. You take gray-headed jalop that died up there with the flat shovel. You down here, and he's got them little daggers, right? And that would be super cool if you see Baji being able to make, disarm or go through like that, maybe get cut a little bit, and make it where that kind of situation. And you don't even have to get rid of the sidekick. And that whole scene becomes improved because this is Quinn's right-hand man from the whole season minus the last 3 or 4 episodes.
This new guy hasn't earned
Yeah,
screen time.
He doesn't have a street cred on the screen cred. You want to put it that way? That's what I'll call it. And
Street cred.
yeah, and so that right there, exactly. So he's just an average Joe. He's fluff like anybody else who got his head cut off earlier.
Yeah, you don't even have a name tag.
No,
Exactly. Yeah. And so I mean, don't put him in there as like this is a formidable foe for Baji.
He just took on 4 dudes with nunchucks by himself.
Yeah, and this is one of the regular dudes. So that's what I'm saying. Like we needed the gray head jalop out there.
I think that would have worked out a lot.
It would have been better for the scene.
Honestly,
you needed the fuzzy-haired guy who dies, from the glass to the throat out there with the shovel to the head.
I think they just forgot that they made him the right hand man, and then 3 or 4 episodes happened. They're like, oh,
No, I'm
God.
telling you, Homeboy did something. He pissed in somebody's Cheerios to just be killed off screen like that. Or he had some other mission that Quinn put him on, and they put all this film and everything into it, and they just had to cut it out because they're like, yeah, we just don't have enough screen time for you, whatever you did. But I just don't see that either.
Yeah, I think this guy must have been a pain in the ass to work
I mean,
with.
something must have happened. Somebody tell me, if you were on the set, cast, crew, whatever, what did this guy do? Did he drop a log and set it on fire by the director's door? I mean, what did happen? I mean,
Fire in the hole.
Did he upper deck the director?
I mean,
Well, honestly, that would get you more screen
because it's
time.
not, it's
Always
bad
upper
enough you
decker.
take him off screen, but when you do bring him back, you kill him with a flat shovel. I mean, that's just as bad as him like tripping and break his neck on a branch. I mean, it's almost as insulting.
I think it's more insulting. I think it definitely is.
By a woman.
Oh God.
137 pounds soaking wet.
Well,
Well, she did just dig a grave. So
Yeah.
I mean, she's pretty jacked up right now.
Yeah.
I mean, her veins are popping out. You
I
know
know.
what I mean?
Whatever.
She obviously has brute strength.
yes,
She's digging in hard clay with a flat shovel.
Yes. Specimen. You
Yeah.
know?
Not to mention, it's snowing, except for this area.
Yeah. I know that. And you
So
know
we're
what?
talking about hard, cold earth.
I was going to say, ground's a lot colder when it's hard, and I ain't seen no rain. Yeah, there's a lot of problems here.
Basically, Lydia's She-Hulk.
But yeah.
how have we managed to get back to this scene?
I'm just trying to tell you, it's a bad scene. All right, so Baji gets knocked into the glass. You get to see his forehead go through the blinds and everything, and so you see him grabbing for a piece of glass, and then he does this kind of like you can move with his hand out in the glass,
Please don't pantomime that.
No.
and all of a sudden the guy just starts grabbing his throat and blood going everywhere.
I was waiting to see this scissors in his back. Almost, like I'm saying, they both did the same move, yin-yanged each other, though.
Right.
Because I was expecting for him to turn around, making jokes, and you see it sticking out of his back or something. But ends up in his side.
I really thought the location was off of the scissor wound. And I think the only reason they did it right there is to make it plausible he could survive it. Because,
I don't know,
them scissors were in deep.
Put it in the back, then. Don't put it in near organs.
Look, the bottom line is, dude, it would have had to go another foot and a half before it got to anything vital.
Yeah, I'm like,
and when he was in his fun
Baji,
pack.
So.
I mean, this is still a cheeseburger right there. Clearly blocking.
All it did was pierce last night's steak, if you know what I'm saying.
We're not talking steaks out here.
Yeah. I mean, that's all I'm saying is that,
But yeah, I love the dialogue after the stabbing.
Like, that seemed the most relatable thing on the show that I've ever... Because that's exactly what... Scissors? Are you kidding me?
Really?
Damn scissors.
Really?
After everything, this is what gets me?
All right, so let's talk about...
Worst death ever.
Yes.
Like, I was just sitting there being like, how do I explain this? What do I tell everyone I got stabbed by? Because it's not going to be scissors.
Yeah. How do you... All right. How about the blood hitting the ground? Because it was copious amounts of blood from this scissor wound to the...
It was like bottles of blood.
Now, this scissor is still in him now.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't pulled it out where it's a gaping hole or wound. I'm talking... It's like a funnel that's coming out. Like, his catheter is leaking or
Every
something.
step he takes, it pumps out a little bit.
Like, big hole just like...
I mean, it was just it's copious amounts.
A handful just thrown out.
Really, I mean... So, if you're bleeding that bad... when it's stuck in you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you got to pull that out. I mean, you're going to be a sieve, you know? I mean, it's going to be like it's a pump coming out, So that's kind of curious. I just thought it was a little excessive on the amount of blood hitting the floor.
When he sat down, I was totally expecting Vale just to sew him up.
You and me both.
Yep.
I was like, he's going to be cool. Vale come in and save him. Totally predictable.
Of course, the bombs go off. And then I'm like, oh, well, never mind. Baji's dead as shit.
Yeah. All right.
They kept doing this thing with Baji with his breathing, where he's like breathing his last breaths, and they're like panning out from the camera, and it's like, and then it would still keep panning, and you don't hear any more breaths, and it's like, oh, no way.
I know it. He's like, so much for saving the world. Who's going to do it now?
Okay,
and
so
there's some cool little lines here that kind of gives you intrigue.
That's where you find out his real intentions.
Well, maybe.
Well, at least you understand that good intentions, bad path. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just like, the road to hell is paved in good intentions. You know what I mean?
Right.
The old adage.
Like I said on Facebook, I thought they painted him as like the main character of a spaghetti western, to where he has his mission, which we now know is to save the world, and he's going to do some bad things along the way.
He's a great character.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He doesn't play in the black and white. He's in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he rides the fence. That's just the bottom line. So like you said, pans away. Quinn walks in. I mean, not Quinn. Sonny walks in. There's Quinn with the baby, and kabloomy.
Yeah,
blows the joint up.
This is the worst rigged place for explosives that we've ever seen in our lives. Like,
if this was supposed to bring it down,
why were we worried about this?
Because he got right outside.
I mean, wasn't really an issue.
I don't know what the bombs were for. I thought they
were other than a distraction.
Yeah. Because
to create a new set piece.
You can't seal him in. Because what do you do with Henry then? He's so important.
Well, maybe he had an alternate exit, but I don't know.
Like, now we know why none of his men.
I know it. I mean, I'm just kind of like
bombs were useless.
Realistically, it was
just to make a Lydia scene to me.
Yeah,
a Lydia scene, and or just as a single distraction for their encounter with Henry. I mean, he gets he's in a compromised position. He hits the bombs, grabs his sword, and they go to fighting, and then they end up out the window and so on. What's amazing is because that blew out everything, but then they flew through some windows that weren't broken yet. I hadn't figured that part out
Completely lackluster and missed the entire point of this.
Yeah, so the bombs were blow, just bleh.
Who cares? Totally overshadowed.
Then for the next 6 minutes, some of the best hand-to-hand and weapon fighting of the entire series.
Yeah.
Really went all out. Everything looked really good.
Swords.
Everything looked really, really good. Everything looked real plausible. There was no like super aerial moves that were like, are you kidding me?
Well, not everything was plausible. I'm
talking about like what I'm saying is like there wasn't a 30-foot sky kick from 27 feet away.
I mean,
Quinn did pull a double foot kick that threw Sonny
from Mortal Kombat.
30 feet.
Whoa.
And
What
Quinn
I'm saying is
didn't bounce back.
What I'm saying is an aerial move
that broke physics.
Exactly.
This
Don't get me wrong. Now
kinda?
Sonny getting kicked and literally going through 13 walls like Superman and landing against there and just
forget him flying. I'm just talking about Quinn's double kick, and he comes down on his feet. He would have fallen straight on his ass or flying backwards.
Yeah. Equal. I learned this
opposite reaction.
Equal and opposite reaction. So rule of cool, I guess. Whatever. So he gets kicked, and I'm going to guess we're at least 30 feet away now. Are we going to agree with that? Yeah. Ballpark?
Good ways away.
Good ways away. To the point where Quinn pulls the sword up and puts up the veil and basically gets ready to lop her head off with the baby in tow. Cold-blooded SOB.
Yes.
Right here. Sonny's able to regain consciousness, take his 7-foot sword that has rings on it, and throw it perfectly to where it impales him from behind.
Luckily not searing Henry's face right off.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the location that the sword went through. All right.
Straight through his heart, as far as I could tell.
From what I could tell, it either hit the heart or it pierced a lung right next to it.
From what I could tell, it was eating up half of his chest because this is not just a sword.
The bottom line is
he's dead.
2 vital organs wherever you hit it.
No matter what, one or the other, he's on the ground either dead or coughing up enough blood to be dead very quickly.
First off, just imagine the damage pulling those rings through your body.
Yes.
Flip. It's like just pulling anal beads through your body. Just
I was hoping it wasn't going to go
I'm done. Y'all finish up. this visual of anal beads.
The new rage.
Okay.
Chest beats.
So he pulls this sword out. And they go back to battling by getting into an aerial, going up to this next level under some rubble, having some more fighting, going back at it. And Sonny does this backwards move to impale him for the second time. And this is through the stomach region.
Yeah, a little less vital, I guess.
Probably
it's only your spine in half.
It's your small intestines, your big intestines, your liver, your gallbladder, and your stomach are all, as well as your bladder. So you're just releasing everything as you go.
Your spinal cord's back there somewhere too.
And Quinn, he falls, and so Sonny jumps down, doesn't check the body.
Well, I mean, in fairness.
To me, my wife's like, he's still alive. Go finish him off. Put something in him. I was like, whoa, baby. Whoa. Okay? He just got impaled twice. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. It is very plausible my man is dead.
It's not very plausible. He's dead. This shouldn't even be a question.
Right before this, when he loses his sword later, he pulls his 2 sides out. We got Michelangelo going here. And we get to use
Raphael.
Yeah,
garbage heap.
I know it. God, that's terrible. Dumpster fire here.
Or was it Melina from Mortal Kombat? Was it Melina?
Don't. Just Raphael.
Yeah,
that's all it is. Most famous size there are.
That's correct.
That's true.
And he's able to catch the loops of the sword with this. I thought that was pretty cool. That the loops of the swords actually had purpose on screen, other than just looking cool on the sword.
Oh, and gets him in the ribs. With the other side.
Yes, he does.
Nasty blow. With a blunt, dull side.
So, Sonny's already had an arrow to the chest, size to the ribs, one through the thigh.
One through the leg,
Kicked 30 feet, takes out walls. Chest. His chest has had a beating. He's had some poisons and had some giant needles stabbed into it for Baji and everything else. And so, he's a trooper. And
Well, I mean, no, he fails as a trooper compared to what Quinn.
Yeah, I
as
mean,
we've already
Quinn,
discussed,
it's the
so.
ultimate, And so, anyway, so we have this embrace moment and so on, and then so he grabs Vale, and he goes, who's it going to be? Henry or Vale, and so on. Was not expecting
Here we
Quinn
have
to
it.
be alive? Yes.
Here we have the worst scene of the entire episode. This is so ridiculous.
Oh, God, I know it, man. I was just, so not only that, it was technically flawed. All right.
Horrifically. He is holding the Psy up to her throat.
Yes.
Under her chin.
It's right under her jawline.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's like, just get him out of here. It's going to be okay. And blah, blah, blah. So then on camera, she stabs right through her collarbone into his neck area. Okay.
No, it was through her chest into his chest.
Right. Well, from the first shot angle, the Psy went through her collarbone. I watched it and paused it, slow-moed it, and everything. Because I was like, wait a minute. Because then the very next scene, it shows her chest have a hole in it.
That's what I'm saying. When you see it pull apart from her from him, it's through her heart basically into his heart, but it's only into his chest by an inch, maybe.
If anything, it tickled him.
Yeah.
But I'm saying you see him pull apart. You see how much is out of her back, and it's barely anything. You just were impaled twice
With an enormous sword that had anal beads. Hooks on it.
Yeah. I'm just like, this little thing is what drops him. This was
It pissed me off.
horrifically.
And I'm telling you, you watch back, her entry point was the collarbone. And then the next scene, it's down in her chest.
Just
So
tell
not
me
only
why
that,
this was the option.
Yeah. Well,
She suffered so much throughout the season by being down in this cage the entire time. And then she gets repaid by this?
If you're already planning on dying and willing to die for this, try to fight out of it. Just karate chop an arm or something. Break loose. Distract him for a second so Sonny can tear his head off.
Not only that, just wait a few seconds. He's probably gushing blood from these massive wounds that he'll probably just die from exsanguination right there.
Sonny, just hang on a second.
Yeah, really. Hold, honey, hold. Please, Quinn, another second.
Quinn,
Okay,
let's talk. We can talk this out. No more talking.
It's getting cold in here.
I only have one lung of air. So my eye's got lots of blood in it.
Yeah.
Is that blood, or are you just happy that I'm here?
It's stinging a lot.
I'm with it. Technically wrong on multiple fronts. She stabbed herself through the collarbone. And they made it into her heart, which doesn't make sense.
But
and
it's
not only
under her throat. It's in her chin. But she stabbed it through her collarbone, and then it shows it through her chest.
It ends up and tickles him an inch into his shirt.
All right, so we've seen this before. Die Hard.
Yeah.
He does this.
Yeah.
Was it Die Hard?
No, it's Die Hard 4 where he shoots through his own wound and kills.
Live Free or Die Hard or something.
Yeah.
It was the edited one where
He literally shoots a hole through his chest right there into the guy behind him, and he's fine. It's just a flesh wound.
Yeah.
My shoulder blade is disintegrated.
Yeah. That whole bone back there, there's nothing there. And so basically my shoulder looks like a limp noodle from now on.
Yeah. You'll never lift that arm again. But still.
cool effect.
A point blank blaze of fire bullet goes through you right there.
Okay, here's the next part. Okay. How thick do you think the human body is right there? Not only because if she's going through a heart, we're talking pretty close to the bosoms, okay? All right, from that chest region, so we're talking about the entire rib canal capacity, right? I'm going to say at best, you're the skinniest, 8 to 10 inches.
Yeah.
8 to 10 inches. Okay, how many wounds did she have in her chest? Was it 1 or 3? Because you remember, her Psy has 3 points.
Yeah.
But it only goes up to the middle point, though.
But
Right,
that's what
but
he's saying.
how
8 to
long
10.
is that middle point of the Psy?
I mean, it's long, but that's what I'm saying. It went through her, and there was only about an inch poking out the other
I
end.
know it, but that's the whole deal. Like, for it to be even close to being fatal to
She's
heal
gonna have
him,
to have
she would
3.
have 3 holes.
Oh, I completely agree.
Yeah, that was just
That wasn't the case, though.
failure across the board. Complete failure.
And you killed Vale. So
And
like,
you killed Vale. All this to get the family back, and murder suicide.
Yeah, and now we're left thinking like, wow, Sonny's going to have a baby.
The funny thing is, just like we had some comments on Facebook, which were some great stuff, and a lot of it was good theory stuff, but I got to look at the name. And they were like, she was talking about, like, all I can think about is who's going to feed the kid now? The bosoms have been penetrated. She's dead. You know what I mean?
You still pump a few good ounces out of there.
Oh, James, man.
It's a little red, but
before you
pile the rocks on her.
You gonna drop her blouse and get a last suckle?
I'm just saying.
You are wrong, man.
Put the pump on them bad boys. The milk's gonna be cold real soon.
We just lost half our listenership.
Baji's just over there. Oh, the pump's broke. Let me help you.
Oh,
somebody's got to do this.
Yeah, rolling your sleeves up.
It's a rough job.
Whatever.
No, Sonny. I won't let you do this.
All right, so you see Sonny go back, and Baji's not. Yeah, y'all are sick, by the way. All right, so Baji's mysteriously disappeared from the chair, and he's gone. And then Sonny makes his way out and goes ahead and does the fastest rock barrel, a veil. And again,
well, I mean,
there's no cold air. The baby was completely
dug.
Cool with this stranger holding him the entire time. Okay.
I mean, the hole was already dug. So
he had another flat shovel.
Yeah.
This didn't take him any time.
Okay.
Yeah, really. So anyway, like I said, I can't even focus.
He had a spoon. He got through this earth, no problem.
He used a fork.
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize the area was rocky like it was, either. But anyway, so we had the moment here again. No breath, no nothing, and he walks off into a really extra lit woods, and on we go. And then we get Baji, riding gangster on the motorcycle through what looks to be the Ireland countryland.
Yeah, this looks like the cliffs of Ireland.
And comes up to this
micro castle.
Pretty well done CG little castle with, the antennas on it and stuff like that. Because, like I said, I've watched it several times, and, and you can see the little bitty parts where you can tell it was CG, which is fine because, it was still really well done. And then we get into this whole part, and I really want y'all's opinion on this. He takes this book in there, okay, and sets the book down, slides the compass into it, and it points to one of the symbols. Mm-hmm. And so he takes this man-made fancy machine, I guess of whatever.
Turns it to yellow.
Turns it to green, it turns it to red, and because this compass is just giving him directions.
Yeah.
And what looks to be, I guess, the SOS call to Azra.
It's basically a game of Simon. Yellow, red, green, blue. Yeah, all it is SOS signal being broadcasted.
Yeah.
Which not even sure how he thought to hit those buttons or know to go there.
Well, that's the other thing I had a question about. Is like I was talking to my wife, and we were sitting thinking about it. It's like, man, he just opens the book and just knows what he's supposed to do. Like, he's been there and done that before. Like, the compass was the missing piece for him to be able to do what he needed to do. And, like, he had all that knowledge already. And, like, the widow seems to think he already knows how to decipher the whole book. Like,
yeah, so
I think he did know how to decipher the book already.
Right. And so, just a little more sprinkles of information about Baji we're not sure about and so on. There was no scissors in his gut, didn't see much blood on his shirt. They didn't focus
no ill
on
effects or anything. So
no, like I said, like Jake said, he stabbed a cheeseburger. It's about the death of a Whopper. I mean,
we saw stabbing was not an efficient way of killing people. So.
Right,
a kebab,
kebab. And then he just sits there, and you hear the distress signal, and then credits roll. Where is this going? Obviously Azra is the next part of the chapter here, but we've lost two of my favorite characters on the show. I mean, Quinn, and it was
Vale.
The best, the perfect enemy, and the whole 9 yards, and I think we can pretty much say he's good to go.
Yeah, there wasn't much left that Quinn could do, unfortunately.
Yeah,
so that made sense.
Yeah, and so are we to believe that Widow now becomes the main bad guy, or are we going to have a whole new development
I think a whole new development with the widow being a frenemy.
A frenemy, I like that.
I think that's just the best way I can think of it happening.
I don't know what's going to happen yet. I mean, the distress signal is obviously a major component. You could even consider the fact that, the Badlands keep having their little battle with the widow and whoever and stuff like that. And then just all of a sudden, super surprise, the rest of the world comes. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the whole deal. It kind of makes
the military comes.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing. It makes me think that it's not. What's that movie that just came out? That just several of them. It wasn't Hunger Games. It was the other one. Divergent.
Yeah, Maze Runner.
Where they had their own little. There was a community there, but it was all an experiment from something bigger and better.
Maze Runner.
No, it was Divergent. You know what I mean?
I never watched those garbage movies.
They're, in the spoiler alert, towards the end of the last one, they, you realize that the community they've been fighting for and all that stuff like that was actually just an experiment for a much larger community to see how humans react when they were given such certain stimuluses. And so it makes you wonder, is like this Badlands thing it's one thing, but it's just a micro of the whole deal. Because like you said, all we know is that what's Badlands and what's past it. But they've never shown us or talked about much what is past it, other than the mines and people at the wall. You know what I mean? So I think this Azra thing is nothing more than where we go from here. I don't think that we ever revisit much of anything to do with what we've already discovered. I don't think we have to worry about the new Barons. I don't think we have to worry about much of anything else. I think it's all about Azra, getting our powers back, understanding the origin, where people have come from, how this is all about learning where we came from and why we are where we are.
So do you think the River King has anything to play with it anymore?
I thought the River King would become a player,
Because, I still feel like hasn't been played yet. Like, I feel like he's going to make a comeback
I'm with
for some
you.
reason.
I'm totally with you. I'm just really curious now, since they didn't go that direction.
Yeah.
Maybe
he's their way to Azra.
Maybe. There was a real cool theory with us on social media. One of our fans that was like, the River King is going to become the next big bad, and that and somehow he's going to become key to what they need to do. And that's going to become the problem.
I think that could happen if they need a boat to get to Azra.
Right. And so, do we think that Widow is going to become an ally because her goal is to, what the book or Azra can do for their powers? They've just kind of blown open the entire possibility of where the story goes with no clear direction.
They have. And, do you feel like her and Sonny's relationship can still be fixed by just that conversation? I think it can. I think if they just sit down. It's
possible. I'm just really wondering what Sonny's going to do now that... what does his character bring to the table now that it's just him and a baby?
I don't know.
It's just an infant.
Who's his enemy now?
He doesn't have an enemy.
Well, they
gotta go get MK.
They gotta go MK. But Baji's on his own. He threw the deuces. He went to go
for now.
Yeah,
he fulfilled his task.
Right. He's like, well, I'm going to help you get your family back, and then we go get MK. And then he got on the bike and went and called Azra.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
I don't know.
There's as soon as they get guide you in this direction, they blow it open by this character doing something different. And they do this, and they blow it up by going that way. And it's just like, all right, well, right now we have Widow and MK back at her place, and they're going to try to figure out how to do their powers together. Okay, but she doesn't have the book, and it's not deciphered for them to be able to do it. So they're just sitting there and wait. So then you have Tilda's gone with Odessa. No idea where they've gone.
No clue.
And then you have Sonny. He's off in the woods with a baby.
And possibly Lydia.
Possibly. Lydia could be the only person that could possibly... I could see Sonny ending up with a baby and Lydia at the Totem Knights. That could be a possibility. Something that helps take care of the... he's got to find refuge for him and the baby. That's the bottom line. He can't be... I'm on a mission, badass Clipper from now on.
Because part of the problem I see is we can't really skip ahead in time. There's no logical way to do that.
Well, they could skip away 10 years, and Henry's, olding, and he was a young Clipper.
But not with MK and the Widow.
I agree.
So they've kind of pitted themselves in a hole to where I don't know what they're going to do. Because having Sonny having a baby, That's a big problem.
An albatross.
Yeah. Like, they should have killed Henry as well.
To me, it's almost like Sonny is going to become not the main character.
And that's what I said. I think Baji's going to sneakily become the main character of the show.
I mean, it's possible. It's very curious where they're going with this. So I'm not real sure.
And I think the biggest problem with this was you never had like a fulfilled moment. Like you never had like a moment where you felt the story wrapped up.
Yeah, I'm with you. You know, Angie said us like that. She felt like the story was written with the possibility of this is how we're going to end it because we're not sure if we're going to be renewed. Do y'all get that vibe at all? Like this could be like could this say have been the end of end if it wasn't renewed?
Maybe, but like they just didn't solve nearly enough questions for this to be an okay. We might not have a third season.
I mean, realistically, like I said, Baji got what he wanted, and he leaves you the mystery of Azra.
The up in the air is the Widow and MK.
Yeah, the other ones are you could almost say, okay, that's all right. They can leave you with the mystery of what Azra really was.
Because I would not be fulfilled with Baji. Like you could say he completed his mission, but there's so much that. Like, does he know Azra? Like, did he know the book? Because, like you said, like, it didn't feel like he should have, but...
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't think that they did well with Baji. I mean, Sonny was the only one that they really kind of clipped, made you feel like, okay, like, his story could be done.
I wish that they had ended with a bigger intrigue of what's happened next. Just the SOS was not enough for me. Just from me.
Yeah, because we don't even know if it was an SOS.
Yeah,
like, I mean, that could be, he could have sent a distress call, or not like hey guys, you need to run. Well, that's why I stopped at the end. I was like, no, distress is going to be SOS. So
probably
like,
it's like a beam me up, Scotty. Pick me up here. I don't know.
But no, I like the SOS thing because it leaves up for so many possibilities.
Just don't tell me the whole purpose of the book was just to do a distress signal.
Well, no, it looked like it was like a single chapter.
Yeah, but it had a slot for this compass to fit into.
I understand that.
Jake's saying like you could flip the next page and that compass is going to do something else. At least, is that correct?
Possibly. Yeah.
What's crazy to me is that it had that huge slot for this compasses to fit into, and that that hole in that book was never shown or discovered. As many times we saw people handling it and flipping through it.
Maybe it needs to be in the presence of the compass.
The hole creates itself.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it was there. Maybe I just don't remember from the first season if they showed it.
All right. So one of our viewers asked us about what did we think of the season overall? 10 episodes and all together.
It's like I could give it like 7 episodes out of 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like there was a couple bad ones in a row. And then one mediocre out there.
Well, I feel like it was like the first 6 or 7 were super strong. And then like we had like a 2 episode
the first
low.
5 were strong.
I think 5 or 6 because we had 2 duds in a row. Remember?
Yeah.
I thought it was like 6 and 7. We're like, what the? I'm not positive on numbers.
I think it was 7 and 8, and then
I know
9 were stronger.
9 was awesome.
Yeah, I think the last 2 were good. I think it was 7 and 8 that were a little lackluster.
I don't know. Yeah.
And so I would probably give it like a 8.6. I would give it a really high.
How would you compare it to the first season?
You can never compare a season to the first season of an AMC show.
Well, sure you can.
not because they put so much effort into like.
Well, don't
6
get me wrong.
episodes
I mean, like,
stuff.
there's no other better season of Walking Dead than season 1, and nothing ever come close to it. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, don't get me wrong. There are elements of season 2 that I really did enjoy. I liked that sometimes they just blew up the chessboard and you didn't know which way it was going. I did like some of the stuff like that. But there were some that it was kind of like, nah, So, but there's more room for problems when you have more episodes too, I thought it was a really cool surprise to have Quinn brought back. I thought it was a really cool way to see him go out, minus Vale. And his tickling of the sun.
Well, I guess now that you brought Quinn back, maybe he should have checked, since Quinn apparently has an affinity to survive
impalings. Because he did get impaled the other time too.
Yeah. And so maybe
the guy has an iron chest. Yeah. He's Wolverine incognito.
I think a lot of what season 2 did good was the callbacks to season 1.
I agree.
What season 1 did so well and every time season 2 kind of mimicked that, it was well again. I love Baji as a character.
Agreed.
The whole way. I enjoyed having him on the team. I think MK was much stronger this season as far as his acting went. It started slow, a little boring, but he got way better, I feel like. He did. So I think they improved on certain things. They missed, and it's easier to do when you have 10 episodes instead of 6, on a few of the technical things that they didn't miss on in the first season. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag, but I gotta give it to the second season probably because, like I said, Baji as a character. Quinn first season is amazing, so it's like tough on that, but at least they brought him back. And then you get a glimpse of the other Barons, but I was really hoping for more.
Yeah, I was about to
I'm
say,
with you.
This is one of the odd shows where you could say side characters died too soon, and we didn't get enough of side characters.
Well, not only that, think about how many amazing and really cool characters were introduced for one episode and never see again.
Like Ava. I mean, I know we got her more than one episode, but...
Yeah, I mean, there's that. Well, think about the guy who was at the checkpoint. What was his name? The guy who was going to get him a...
There was a ton of them.
Yeah, the guy at the mine. The
Quinn's
checkpoint.
right-hand man.
The Abbotts. I mean, there were so many cool characters that came and went so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, we met the Barons, and, Chubby Knuckle, we only got a couple seconds with. We don't know what happened to the other Baron, with the green jade outfit, and then Chow's still kicking.
Yeah, Green Dude and Chow are still alive.
Right, and so that was kind of interesting that those things are still in the air. I mean, I just felt like you showed this really, really cool meeting with all these Barons, and that was going to be a huge deal of this war. And it ended up being, here's a boxes full of heads, and here's my head, and that's it.
And only one of them actually got a fight scene.
Yeah.
Right. And so I felt like you set all this up for, Ryder got all this in play, and it was a big deal, and it's all about being strategic, and you're testing the widow's morals and what she was planning on doing and this other stuff, and she got corrupted from it, and it all ended in one next episode, and it's over. And then it went right back to, all right, well, it's Sunny, the widow, and Quinn.
Basically.
And so I thought that was kind of like, all right, well, you put all the spaghetti out here, and you put just a little dabble of sauce, and it's over. That wasn't enough. And so I thought that was kind of strange that they didn't, capitalize. I mean, you go through this effort to make your website to show these Barons and their cool weapons and they're all there thing like that, and you give them almost zero screen time, minus Chow.
And she still only got
not
2
much.
episodes.
And she had one fight scene, and her region gets killed. That's it.
And a couple solo scenes talking.
I mean, you don't see Chubby Knuckles fight. I mean, maybe he does one move, and that's it.
You see a little bit.
Yeah.
Boo.
Yeah, it was awful. So, I mean, that's that right there. You know what I mean? Now, second season, things that did hurt me, the aerial kick by MK from 30 feet in the air, I'll never forget, was a disaster. The multiple Charlie Angel poses.
Yes.
Anytime slow motion posing, terrible.
Do you realize there was one in this last episode, too? Because when Baji finished him off, he kind of went, oh! Posed.
I was okay with it.
You forgot, he had the moment where he kind of chucked right there from the camera, gave the camera a little look.
He did it to himself, though. It's when they look at each other is when it really gets disgusting.
I was okay with
the only thing we didn't see here is that you didn't see the wind blowing through his hair in this moment because he doesn't have hair. I thought we might have saw the beard kind of flapping in the wind or something right there, and how to gone. I've chucked all my popcorn on the floor. Okay, I don't do that. Okay, that 80s Steven Seagal, all that, and
Steven Seagal.
I mean, Tiger
Steven Seagal
Heart
never slowed down the film. He only sped up the film.
Well, they had to, and they had to disguise his gut as well.
Jesus.
I mean, I'm just putting it out there. Take that crap out. Don't do the Charlie Angels with the wind blowing and, like you said, the back-to-back and look at each other,
Like I said, a little hit or miss, but overall
But
strong
see, you didn't
season.
have that stuff in season 1.
But they had the years to perfect one season.
True that.
6 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
They had a year and a half to do season 2.
Yeah, I understand that, but...
Most people don't have that. Walking Dead pulling stuff out every few months.
Well, I mean...
And look what they get.
Do you really want to...
Terrible example. Terrible example.
We'll edit that out for your own sake. God.
I know. I'm just putting it out there that, there was as many things as they did good. There was a lot of things that I wish they had not done, in season 2.
That's fair.
But for most shows, which have a terrible sophomore slump and end up getting canceled, this was a stronger second season than most shows we get.
Right. Not to quote Walking Dead again, but you think of season 2 and you're like, oh, it's one of the worst seasons of television.
Season 3 and season 4.
Oh, stop.
I think they're still going.
Yeah, really. Is the show still current? Yeah.
Jeez.
Then Fear the Walking Dead and it's
We have derailed.
oh man.
Oh. But no, I mean, think about like another show we covered, True Detective, season 2. Season 1 was just so
Epic.
absolutely amazing.
Epic.
That your expectations were so high going into season 2. Into the Badlands came out as a total surprise.
It was.
It's like, hey, this was a really guilty pleasure, really cool show. So your expectations going into season 2 weren't that high. You knew what you were going into.
Right.
So I feel like it met every expectation I basically had.
I got you. Here's the other thing too, is that what I worry about Into the Badlands is that realistically it's a 3 or 4 season show and it's done. Just because I don't know how many times you can make a fight scene not seem redundant, considering as much as they've done.
That is difficult to do. Because you can't settle into a simple fight scene anymore.
God, I keep going for The Walking Dead, but how many times we've seen the zombies? I mean, there's just only so many ways you can kill zombies. And you know what I mean? And that's why the show is geared towards more of the drama of the people and the heartstring like that. They're going to have to really work into that to make this show more, as a long last, in my opinion. Is they're going to have to, it can't be all fight, the whole 9 yards.
I'm okay with an explosive, great 4-season show, though. Banshee.
Yeah, well, I'm with that,
Stick with what works.
Yeah.
Just keep fighting. That's what I'm saying. You watch this show because that's what you like.
Yeah, well, that's what got me so interested in it is what they were able to achieve. But they're going to have to evolve the show. It can't just be fighting. I'm just putting it out there. I don't think it's going to stick around unless they involve it some.
I think they should avoid it. Just stick with what's working. You got a season 2 for a reason. You've been allowed a season 3 already for a reason.
16 episodes, season 3.
Yeah. Now, my thing is that sounds more like a finale to me because they'll likely split this up. 8 and 8.
An 8 and 8.
8 and 8.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe they just felt like the 6th season is easier to do than the 10, so they kind of split the middle there.
Right.
Like, we'll make 8 episode seasons and make
which
it
I'm thrilled about.
A little easier on the crew.
Yeah, which I'm thrilled about. I think it'd be awesome. And was a necessity, too. I mean, I can imagine it was pretty difficult to all these amazing set pieces and everything else and everything that was going on.
Good point.
So, who knows? But, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed the season as much as we did. I hope y'all enjoyed us podcasting on it. I hate that the season's over, but looking forward to season 3. You guys can always catch up with us on Bleed TV Podcast, which is on Facebook and Twitter, and as well as on Gmail. We get emails back and forth and chit chat all the time with all the folks, and we really enjoy it. The next show we'll be podding, if I'm not mistaken, will be Preacher, which comes out, I believe, June 25th, and it has a unique intro where they do a new episode and the following day does an episode, and then it goes into its weekly segment. And so our first pod for that stuff will probably be pretty interesting. Probably like a dual episode pod or something of that nature.
Probably.
And we'll probably do a kind of a preview to kind of rehash what season 1 was and where it left off, just so that everybody can be on the same point going forward.
No need. That's a 1-sentence answer. Everybody else
Everything
is dead.
you watched is pointless.
Yeah. So that's what's looked like on the horizon. So, be looking out for that. And if you haven't watched Preacher, and you just listened to Into Badlands like that, I highly encourage you to do. You're talking about another show that has really cool visuals and unique characters and kind of out there, but just so much fun to watch.
Way out there.
I probably should put a spoiler alert on the wrap-up sentence. In hindsight.
Yeah, way to go. Anyway, check it out. Be looking for us in June, and then shortly after that, we'll have Game of Thrones for its wonderful.
How weird is it that we're not
7-episode season
about Game of Thrones?
I know it. But anyway, guys, it has been fun. We really enjoyed this, and looking forward to season 3, as I said before. Help y'all as well. This is Bleed TV, and I'm Zach.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Cash.
We'll see y'all next year.